Nonetheless, Geno talked about Caitlin Clark again and sort of gave some backhanded compliments. Like, he talked about how she connects to the audience, which was good. He talked about how she's tough, like Paige Beckers. He threw Paige in there.
Geno Auriemma just couldn't resist bringing up Caitlin Clark again, but this time it wasn't pure praise. It was a strange mix of compliments and digs that left fans stunned. He started by saying she connects with the audience like no one else, but then undercut it by dragging Paige Buchers into the conversation, as if to remind everyone he still controls the comparisons. The twist is, this is the same Geno who once dismissed Clark outright, claiming she didn't have the skill set to dominate, only to watch her turn Iowa into a basketball powerhouse, while he's been losing millions, losing credibility, and watching history unfold without him. Now every backhanded comment he makes only makes it clearer. Caitlin Clark isn't just rewriting the game, she's living rent-free in Geno's head, and he simply can't stand it.
Going out of his way to, first he's like saying she connects to people, and he could have left it at that, I guess. But he almost goes on to put the, reverse some of that discourse, try to put it in others' laps because of Caitlin.
After passing on Caitlin Clark, Geno Auriemma, the legendary UConn coach who built his empire on recruiting dominance, now looks like a man scrambling to rewrite his own legacy. He once brushed Clark off as lacking the skill set for the WNBA, only to watch her turn Iowa into a powerhouse that packed arenas, shattered ratings records, and completely changed the conversation around women's basketball. The result? Geno isn't just left with regret, he's facing real losses in money, in respect, and in the chance to tie his name to the most marketable player of this generation. And instead of owning that mistake, he's hitting podcasts with half-hearted compliments laced with subtle jabs, trying to spin it as if it was all part of a bigger plan. But fans aren't buying it because what they see is a coach who underestimated a superstar and is now paying the price.
She's fearless. She just plays. She just is like a little kid in a driveway playing with her friends. So, yeah, she's unique in that way. But in terms of what she's doing, people have short memory. Yeah.
Geno Auriemma doubled down on a podcast, tossing out backhanded remarks that felt more like cheap digs than real analysis. He started by saying Clark connects with people, which everyone already knows, then quickly undercut it by calling her trash talk a problem, as if that's some shocking revelation in a sport fueled by competitive fire. Instead of simply giving her credit, he twisted the story, making it seem like the backlash she faces from WNBA players is her own doing, completely ignoring that her confidence is the very trait that makes her a once-in-a-generation star. And that here's the kicker. While Geno tries to control the narrative, Clark just keeps winning, breaking records, and proving every single one of his criticisms wrong right in front of the basketball world.
Beginning of the conversation.
The women's game. So I think sometimes people get confused over the last 18 months, maybe over 2 years, that they think it was a rocket, that you all jumped on Caitlin Clark's back and went straight up. But you've been there at the beginning.
The real kicker is that Caitlin Clark isn't just winning games. She's rewriting history while living rent-free in Geno Auriemma's head. Every time he tries to downplay her rise, she goes out and proves him wrong. And what makes it sting even more is that his miscalculation didn't just cost him a player, it cost him millions in ticket sales, TV deals, and brand credibility. What could have been the greatest "I coached her" brag of his career has instead become a constant reminder that he underestimated the wrong person. Now, as Clark elevates Iowa into a national phenomenon, Geno's legacy keeps taking hits, with fans pointing out that his bitterness is starting to overshadow his wisdom, and the more he talks, the clearer it becomes. He didn't just miss out on history, he missed out on the future of basketball.
We send them up to the WNBA, and then they have something good to work with, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it still comes back to those of us that are in charge of the game. Are we making the game better?
When pressed further, Geno tried to soften things by admitting Caitlin Clark is fearless, comparing her to a kid in the driveway just playing for fun, but even that landed like another backhanded swipe. Instead of fully celebrating her rare mindset, He immediately pivoted to reminding everyone he's seen greatness before, as if Clark's rise isn't really that special. But here's the truth: while others hesitate, overthink, or fold under the spotlight, Clark thrives in it. She embraces the pressure, takes the big shot, and delivers when the entire arena is holding its breath. That fearlessness is what separates her from the pack. Yet Geno couldn't bring himself to give her full credit, because doing so would mean admitting the player he once rejected has become the face of the very game he spent decades building.
Geno Auriemma could be the reason why Caitlin Clark is definitely not joining the unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league. We finna unpack it all.
Geno couldn't resist bringing Paige Buchers into the conversation, slipping her name in like a reminder that his own star still shines just as bright. But the truth is different. Paige is an incredible player in her own right, but mentioning her alongside Caitlin Clark wasn't about giving respect, it was about deflecting, a way for Geno to avoid admitting that he misjudged Clark's true value. And that's where his mistake shows. Clark isn't just another skilled guard, she's a completely different level, fearless, unapologetic, and unshaken by pressure. She's the type of athlete who doesn't care about criticism, doesn't shrink in tough moments, and doesn't crumble under the spotlight. Every time Geno tries to put her in the same box as someone else, it only proves he's struggling to control a story that has already escaped him. And when pressed directly about Clark's impact on the game, he downplayed it again, acting like her rise was just another step in an inevitable evolution rather than the main reason women's basketball has exploded in popularity, brushing it off with lines about how he's seen greatness before and how nothing is new. But that's exactly the problem, because while Geno tries to frame everything as business as usual, the truth is Caitlin Clark is anything but that. She's a once-in-a-generation phenomenon whose impact has pulled millions of new fans into the game. By refusing to fully credit her, Geno doesn't just look out of touch, he looks bitter, like a man holding on to his old glory while the future of basketball unfolds right in front of him, led by the very player he once dismissed as not good. Enough. His biggest mistake came when he tried to bring Clark into his new 3-on-3 league, a flashy project backed by investors and hyped as a January launch that would change the sport, but Clark wanted no part of it. She flat out rejected the idea of joining anything tied to the man who publicly doubted her, and that decision shook the sports world. Fans immediately saw what it meant. Without Clark, the league had no face, no star power, no magnet to attract viewers. Instead of being remembered as a trailblazer in business, Geno now looks like a coach turned promoter desperately trying to keep a sinking project alive. And fans didn't hold back, roasting him across social media with jokes and harsh takes, mocking him for ever thinking Clark would play under his banner after he dismissed her on national television, called her supporters delusional, and claimed she didn't have the toughness for the WNBA. Now those same words are coming back to haunt him because Clark doesn't need Geno's league, doesn't need his approval, and definitely doesn't need to lift the reputation of a man who once downplayed her talent. Instead of seeing her turn his project into a cultural moment, Geno is stuck with empty seats, fading hype, and a legacy crumbling faster than the league he thought would secure his place in history. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark keeps dominating, showing that his past insults were nothing more than bitter noise from a coach who made the biggest miscalculation of his career. In the end, Geno Auriemma believed he could control the story, but the truth is clear. He underestimated Caitlin Clark, and that mistake has cost him dearly. While he scrambles to rewrite the past with weak praise and excuses, Clark is busy rewriting the future of basketball with every shot she takes, every record she sets, and every fan she inspires. And the more Geno speaks, the clearer it becomes that he's not fighting against Clark's success, he's fighting against his own regret, because instead of embracing the brightest star of a generation, he turned her away, and now he's left on the sidelines watching her take the sport to heights he'll never reach, proving once and for all that his era is fading while hers is only just beginning.